and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are now live with BB3 TV.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 5 here at Hizzy's Place on the Hizzy's Place podcast. Guys, today we are talking about the Enfield Poltergeist, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Phillip experiment, and we're also going to talk a little bit, we're going to kick things off talking a little bit about the eclipse, which is supposed to happen here in the United States tomorrow. So welcome to my guest, Ash. She is my sister, but she is super knowledgeable, super smart. And some of this stuff is right up her alley. So, you know, we're going to have her on this weekend. Hopefully you guys can hear her when she starts talking over here on TikTok. If you can over there on TikTok, please give me a share, get this out. And I'd sincerely appreciate it. And if you don't mind, maybe you can tap that button, hit the like there. I appreciate that. That gets us up in the rankings a little bit. So how you doing, Ash? How was your weekend so far?
It was awesome. Love spending time with the kiddos. So, you know,
Yeah.
how was your weekend, sir?
It was really good. So I had a lot of, I took some time this weekend to actually relax. Needed to kick back and take it easy. You know, it was a tough week. So I kind of wanted to make sure that I gave myself an opportunity to breathe a little bit. And I kind of took myself away from, you know, the hustle and bustle. It was a tough week. You know, so I have a colonoscopy. I'm 45 years old and I have a colonoscopy scheduled for Wednesday. So yeah, so I'm Tuesday is going to be the worst day of my life. You can hear me on both. That's good. That's a good thing. That's what we want. If you're joining us from YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're joining us, tell me where you're from. Even here on TikTok, where are you guys watching from? Hizzle Whizzle. Hey, Lisa, what's up? How you doing, girl? Tell me where you're watching from. You know how we like to do that. How you doing, Facebook user? I can't see who you are, but good evening to you as well. Hello, darling. And I will put your comments up on the screen.
Hey, you.
If you are watching on TikTok, I can't post you, obviously. Thank you for the roses. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, so it's going to be kind of complicated, guys. I'm going to be back and forth a little bit between TikTok and here doing what we have to do. So just bear with me. It's my first time doing this on TikTok as well. So let's jump right in. So why what is your opinion about why people are freaking melting down over this freaking solar eclipse? Like, what is happening?
I have no idea. I mean, we get hundreds of them a year throughout the globe, you know? I mean, they're just not usually over North America. So, I mean, it's a completely natural phenomenon. I don't think anything's going to be horribly different this time around.
Your brother has a mustache and coaches youth soccer also. Well, does he have a mustache that looks like this? It's weird. It's weird to me that people are freaking out about this. And I think part of it has something to do with when you have government agencies that are out there and they're telling you, hey, make sure you have enough water, make sure you have enough groceries. It's like, I start thinking, what are we talking about here? Why are we talking about needing to run to the grocery store? Is this just like a money grab? You know, is this just another opportunity for them to be like, make you scared, make you run to the grocery store and buy overinflated groceries? Because, you know, we're paying through the nose for groceries. I just spent $450 on groceries in 1 week.
Oh, plug. Let them eat cereal.info. If you're not involved in that, do it because they are trying to bring down food prices by doing a boycott 1 quarter at a time.
So what's it called? Let them eat cereal.org.
.info, I believe, or is it org? I can't remember. Let me get
Yeah, I'm
that
not
pulled
sure.
up.
Way too many blue light exposure. They're pushing this one hard. Boots on the ground partner in crime. Hey, Lee, what's going on, brother? Thanks for jumping in, man. It's good to see you, brother. If you can, guys, and you haven't done it already, right down here, there's a little share button. If you can share this out, I appreciate it. Same here on Facebook and YouTube. If you guys get an opportunity, hit that share button. I appreciate you. No, and my
Let them eat cereal.info, INFO.
Okay. So go to letthemeatcereal.info. And essentially what that is, it's a food boycott of major corporations who are
Big food conglomerates, starting with Kellogg.
people, and it starts with Kellogg's, who have completely inflated the prices of their food. And listen, you know this, if you're going to the grocery store, you're feeling the pain. You know this, especially if you've got kids, you're feeling the pain. And I know we are.
Oh, today was horrible. It made me want to cry. I went to the grocery store. It's like a horrible experience now.
Yeah. Well, so, at least they're not pushing, I completely lost my train of thought because I started to think about the eclipse again.
Yes.
So, hey, Carmen. You derailed me with that whole thing. How you doing, honey? No, I do want to continue talking a little bit about this eclipse because of what it means. And here's the thing. Okay, as a person who was at the Capitol on January 6th, and I know that gets people up, that gets their cackles up. All right. I was not one of the people who stormed into the Capitol building. I was not one of those people who were breaking windows. My buddy and I were smart enough to stay away from all that. We went to the back. We were on the grass in the back. And then we turned around after all the gas canisters started coming out. But something really interesting happened there. Okay. And none of this made any sense to me until just like after the fact. Okay. There were people there inciting stuff. And I didn't know until way later, until all those videos were put out there, that there was over 200 FBI agents that were there who were dressed as Trump supporters. That's fact. And it's documented and it was on film. That's done. There's no arguing that. The question is why? Why are we doing this? Why are we pushing people to do some dumb shit? I mean, there's an agenda. Whatever that agenda is, there's an agenda. And what my point is with this and how this ties into the eclipse, they want to put you in a situation where you're going to do something stupid. Don't do stupid shit.
Scared people are easier to control, and they can't pillage our pockets if we're watching their hands.
You so smart. You so smart. See, that's exactly right. Now you got these people that are I hate to call people sheep, but people tend to be easy to persuade. People are easy to, make them do things.
Persuasion. I mean, because we all have our preconceived notions and our beliefs and what we stand for, but it's so easy to get people riled up. It's the emotionality of it. People aren't thinking, why are they doing this? They're just reacting.
I think a lot of what happened on January 6th was exactly that. I think it was just a reaction to some people doing certain things. I took a photograph of a guy, okay? And this is the strangest thing in the world. He came out. You have to understand something. He went into the Capitol building and he was wearing a very flamboyant Make America Great Again thing. Give me 1 second. TK is up here. Okay, so I did send an invite to Taryn, who runs Paranormal Brew. I would love for her to come on. She's an expert on this stuff. She's not feeling the best, and she did just lose her mother. So if she's not able to make it, we totally understand. But
so sorry.
The one thing about the January 6th thing, okay, this guy came out and he was right beside me. All right, he was wearing a very flamboyant "Make America Great Again" jacket. Okay, and he had to go through I saw this entire, there was like a brigade of police officers, and he came out through the back of the Capitol building after being in there fighting with the police and getting gassed, and sat right beside me. There's TK right there. Hey, TK. If you feel up to coming in, I sent you the link, honey, and we're going to get talking about the Enfield Poltergeist and the Phillip experiment. We'd love to have you in for that. Anyway, he had to go through a line of police officers a mile long to get out to where I was. I mean, so why in God's name did he, first of all, show up to that place with a professional gas mask? Because he had a professional gas mask. Why? I would never in a million years think of going to a rally and showing up with a professional gas mask. Never.
I mean, if I were going, I probably would, but I know that usually ends up happening at a lot of them, especially depending on what you're rallying about.
I don't know. I mean, Taryn, I did see the message. Yeah, and I do hope you feel better. But my point is that never would have crossed my mind. When I went down there, I was like, man, I'm going to listen to Trump and I'm going to hear what he has to say and blah, blah, blah. And really, I couldn't even hear the guy. So we ended up walking down to the Capitol. We ended up walking down to the Capitol on our own. There was nobody down there. See, and Taryn's the same. She would never, I mean, like, why would you? And then
always a possibility, I guess. That would be my thought process.
So, okay, Kristen's on TikTok says, why increase military traffic this weekend through Monday around the area as an exercise? That's
Probably
an interesting.
because
What are you talking about? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, but I mean, they're creating so much hubbub. They know people are going to act stupid, so of course they're going to increase presence of different forces in places. I mean, they've created this huge phenomena around this eclipse, which is not, anything special or strange.
No, I mean the eclipse. How many solar eclipses have you lived through? I've lived through multitudes of them. Multitudes. They only come around every so often, but
they happen all over the rest of the world all the time.
Right, but why is this one special? Why do people need to go and get their water and get food and make sure you have enough gas? It's an incitement. They're inciting something. So to me, my personal self, I feel like we should be thinking along the lines of maybe we should be looking for false flags. I mean, look at all the stuff that kind of just happened. Look at all the things that have just happened, like the ships that are hitting bridges randomly all of a sudden, and all these ships that are losing power.
Attention. They're paying too much attention now, and they're gonna do things to try and turn our attention away. I think that there has been a lot of awakening, especially since COVID, when we had all that time to think. Yeah. Like we're watching them now. We know more. Like the amount of knowledge that we have access to now is astronomical compared to what it's been in the past. So now they have an aware populace and they don't like that.
So on TikTok, Lee says there was one the other year and nothing happened. Exactly. They didn't even make any hubbub about it. And Kristen says another ship almost hit another bridge in New York yesterday. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Why is all this stuff just starting to happen? It's just coming out of the blue. This isn't the first solar eclipse that's ever been this type of hype. Get to see how gullible people are. That's what it is. So and I hate, like I said, that's why I said I don't want to call people sheep. I don't want to call people that. You're my fellow countrymen. I love you guys, but let's be honest. People are easy to persuade, and people trust the government way too much. Why?
I have no idea, especially with all the declassified documents that have been coming out with all the things they did back in the 60s and 70s. I'm like, how are you guys still trusting these people? It's the same people for the most part, because there's a bunch of dinosaurs in there right now. You think they all of a sudden changed their behaviors? I don't think so.
They know how gullible people are, so they are telling people anything. And that was a comment on Facebook. No, and that's 100% truth. So this is my problem. Okay, at the end of the day, what's the end result? It's control, right? Is there a way we can make money off of this? But we're also, as Kristen said, we are in an election year.
The more emotion they can drum up, the better for them, and they know it.
Can you repeat that?
The more emotion they can drum up, the better for them, and they know that, especially like you said, in an election year. Keep people on their toes, not thinking straight. They're not going to be as logical.
Now, my wife just said something, and I think it's important to note this. They are probably getting everybody panicked about the solar eclipse, trying to distract them from what's really going on. The question is what is that? My point in all of this is, and my point in talking about January 6th, okay, people were fooled into doing some dumb shit down there. All right. And this is exactly the same situation. All right. There's a lot of stuff going on, taking your eyes off of the ball here. And I don't want to see Americans pull the same stupid shit that happened on January 6th. I was there. I witnessed it. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Don't do that. Don't fall into the bullcrap. Don't go out there strapping up your guns and getting ready for the apocalypse. It's not going to happen. The day is going to pass. The day's going to pass like any other day, right? You're going to get up on Wednesday. I'm going to get my damn colonoscopy, and nothing is going to be different. Okay. So don't buy into the bullshit. And Thomas over here said smoke and mirrors. 110%
Absolutely
truth.
right.
And this is a veteran. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's seen the inner circle of what the government's capable of doing. So there was a solar eclipse in 20. I'm reading a comment on Facebook here, guys. What's up, Kyle? There was a solar eclipse in 2017. Did we close the schools? No. Were we telling people to get gas? No. A patient canceled her appointment tomorrow because she doesn't want to drive during the eclipse. This is what I'm talking about. That is crazy.
Me too, Taryn. We got all our glasses too. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't do was get my wife bought glasses. My wife bought glass, one pair, didn't get enough for everybody. I'm gonna get my eclipse glasses and go outside and look right at the sun and the eclipse. And then when it's over, you're gonna go back in and you're gonna go about your life.
Day's gonna
And
go on. It's only gonna be what, a
exactly
couple hours, if that. It's only gonna be a total eclipse for a couple of minutes. I
like 4
mean,
minutes. I think 4 minutes total. Now Carmen was here and she mentioned something. She said, "Shame we aren't gonna be able to see the eclipse." Now, why is it supposed to be cloudy or something? So
I
on
know it might be. It's supposed to be really rainy here starting like tomorrow, so we might not be able to see it well.
Oh, well, that sucks. All this hubbub and we won't be able to see it. So Lee said, not every bad thing that happens has to be a government conspiracy or cover up. No, no one's saying that it is. But the fact of the matter is, Lee, there's been false flag events that have happened like this before, and it's not like it's not possible for it to happen again. That's all I'm
I
trying to
think
say.
if they have legitimate concerns, they should be more open about those instead of just putting out these vague statements that are gonna make people panic. If they were in the interest of not trying to panic people, they would be more explicit with what it is that they're concerned about.
Mm-hmm. 110%. So if you feel like you need to go to the grocery store and get your bread, milk, and eggs, then go do it. If it makes you feel better, go spend your money.
Lord, it's like a
Do what you
blizzard.
got to do. But listen, you're going to wake up on Wednesday. Everything's going to be the same. Now, I will say this. The State Department did put out that there was a danger of increased terrorism. Oh, you're talking about the ship in Baltimore because people are going off the deep end with conspiracies? Well, Lee, are you not paying attention? There was another one that happened in Oklahoma. How many ships have you heard about hitting bridges in the last 20 years in the United States? I can't think of one. And then all of a sudden, a bridge has collapsed in Baltimore, a bridge gets hit in Oklahoma, and now one just tried to hit a bridge in New York.
I mean, it probably happens more than we know it does, but they're publicizing it much more than they may have otherwise. And I think that's a big distinction too. And it's kind of like people are like, there wasn't this much crime when I was younger. I mean, let's be real, they just it's in the 24-hour news cycles more now. We're just more aware of it. I wouldn't say that the crime level is necessarily so much lower. It's just it gets reported on more.
Mm-hmm. No, maybe that's true. But we also know that the media cherry picks the stories and they cherry pick what they're going to feed you, and you sit there and gobble it up,
Yep. This is
without
why I don't watch
discernment.
those big networks. Mm-mm.
Well, and Kristen made a point here on TikTok. She said last year it was train derailments. That was kind of strange how that all happened. It was just like one after another. Well, when
I
you
think it's
hit a
because
support
these
beam, it's going to
news
collapse.
networks see the coverage that they get and they see the reaction that they get with these. So when other similar things happen, they start hammering on it again because they know people are going to be like, "Oh, it happened again. Why?"
Exactly. I actually saw something on the internet this past week that there has been a total of 7 ships running into bridges in the past decade, but I don't know where I saw that, and that's worldwide. Well, yeah. So I actually did. I kind of did a little bit of a Google search myself to see how many bridges have been hit, and I think I saw something to the tune of in the last decade there was 35 bridge impacts.
Mhm.
Okay, but never any bridge collapses. You know what I
And
mean?
see,
And
that's an infrastructure issue, which is why I think the one in Baltimore got so much attention because that bridge already had issues. That bridge they had been saying needed to be repaired for quite a while. So,
Facebook user, I don't know what you're saying wow about. I can't see who you are. If you can tell me what your name is, I appreciate it. Well, especially the way it was built. Well, the way that bridge was built, I'm not an architectural engineer, so I can't sit here and say one thing or the other about it, but it passed the last inspection. Okay. As you said, And the design flaw in that whole thing, if you have like how 19,000 ton ships going through in that area, you should probably have some type of bumper system pushed around those, something to deflect a ship. You know what I mean?
Either
A
that or
simple,
absorb some of the impact.
right? A simple deterrent would like that would have saved that bridge. So, but is it a conspiracy? I don't know, but what you need to do is be open to the possibility that there's something else going on. Think objectively, think for yourself. Don't breathe in what CNN tells you or Fox News. Just
I don't think it's the actual things that are the conspiracy. I think it's the attention that they're given. It's, normal sleight of hand. It's like, "Hey, look over here so that you're not watching what I'm doing over here." So,
now it's showing Kelly at WoW on my end. Am I still Facebook? Yeah, you're still Facebook user
I
over here,
think
Kelly.
she has to give permission for
What's up,
StreamYard to
Unhinged?
use her name.
What'd you say?
You have to give permission for StreamYard to use your name if you are on Facebook leaving comments.
Yeah, so if you are, yeah, you have to give Facebook. So if you guys are just joining in, I know some of my subscribers have just jumped in here on TikTok. I appreciate you guys showing up. You guys are live while I'm doing my Sunday podcast. I
Hey
don't
there,
normally go live.
TikTok.
Don't normally go live on TikTok when I do this, but I figured why not? TikTok wants consistency. I'll give you consistency. So we're talking about. I still haven't. I forgot to bring the oil in here. If I'd have thought you were going to show up, I would have brought the oil with me. This guy said you still haven't oiled up. This is funny.
So I feel like we can go down this rabbit hole all day.
Exactly. So why don't we shift gears and start talking a little bit about why we're on this podcast tonight? We're going to jump in. We're going to talk a little bit about the Phillip experiment. Why don't you tell the group here what the Phillip experiment is? Because I got to be honest with you, I've never heard about it until you mentioned it to me. And then I went down that rabbit hole and I'm like, holy crap. This is like, that explains the whole Ouija board phenomenon, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I'm going to show you a video. Hey, of course, my wife doesn't fail. And this is for you, Unhinged, my bottle of olive oil. So you want me to rub myself down with this, bro? All right. Thank you. So talk a little bit about what the Phillip experiment is.
Okay. So the Phillip experiment, that was done in 1972, and it was done by a parapsychological research society from Toronto. And it was overseen by a mathematical geneticist who is Dr. A.R. George Owen, and also a psychologist. And then one of the participants was actually the former chairperson of Mensa in Canada. So these were not just, everyday people. Like, these were very intelligent individuals.
Mhm.
And they wanted to know because, they've kind of looked into tulpas, which is a Tibetan Buddhist belief that you can create a thought form, or almost they kind of, the way they explain tulpas, it's almost like an imaginary friend, but you give it, form. You basically make it real.
You
And
manifest it. It's
yes, you
something that you
manifest
actually
it.
manifest it into reality. So if you have
Right.
never heard of what a tulpa is, I'm one of these people who've not heard what a tulpa is. It's literally like your imaginary friend, and
That
then
you
you
make
put
real.
so much into it that it actually becomes an entity.
And they
Right?
believe they're somewhat independent as well. They don't necessarily need you to be focusing on them at all times to be out in the world. And so they thought, well, can we create a ghost? And so they spent an entire year creating this person, this ghost, and his name was Philip Aylesford, and he was born in 1624. They gave him a whole backstory. They even had a portrait commissioned of this guy, and he was married to a woman named Dorothea. He was unhappy. He fell in love with a Romani girl, and then the Romani girl was accused of witchcraft by his wife because she found her, and then she was burned at the stake, and he didn't say anything because he was scared, and then he ended up killing himself in 1654. So it was like a whole thing. They
Right.
created this man.
This is
And
completely fabricated.
yes, and then they
So
spent an entire year, this whole group, just focusing on him and meditating on him. and then
And
started
then,
doing seances.
right. And then all of a sudden, weird stuff actually started to happen. So unfortunately on TikTok, you won't be able to see what I'm doing here unless I take the phone and maybe flip it around. But I'm going to show a video. Well, this live got dark. That was the whole point. I'm going to show a video here on Facebook and YouTube of this video recording of the actual Phillip experiment taking place and some of the phenomena that took place. So guys, we're going to add this up here, and I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen. And here we go.
Right. Why don't you rev it up and see if Phillip will put on some antics for us?
Oh, I'm sure he will. Come on,
Okay, but don't look.
Here,
There's a microphone up.
No, I'm not on
Come
platform.
on, show them what you can do.
So I'm going to flip the
Come
camera
on,
for you.
come on, right up in the air, right up in the air, and then let's prove it. Come on, Junior Birdman. Up in the air, upside down. Up in the air, Junior Birdman.
Don't tip it, Phillip.
Mind the microphone. Right on your
So this is Phillip. This has been proven scientifically that nobody was doing this. There was no strings attached to the table, nothing.
How many tables have you demolished since you started?
Quite a number.
And they would go
I
on
can say that I was
television like they are
present on one
here. They
occasion
would-
when
they
you were
would
using a
recreate the
rather heavy
results.
There we
wooden
go.
table and the leg broke off at that night.
That's right, yes. And we actually we have
So
used
that-
2 or 3 heavy wooden tables, but one of the tables weighed
Phillip,
100 pounds.
don't- Phillip,
All right. So what do you guys think about that? That to me was very interesting.
The only thing that a lot of people believed that they could have faked that, but I mean, you could even see most of them when you could see their hands. That was an unfortunate angle. They weren't pressing, they weren't holding, they were mostly just fingertips, very lightly.
Unhinged said it was me moving it. I believe it would be you. You'd be that guy in there with your oil in hand. But the thing is, you can lift something up with suction cups. But no, there was no suction cup. The guy bottom right was pushing opposite the movement of the table. If eventually there's going to be there's no suction cups or anything like that used. Okay. The chaos. Oh yeah. Well, that was part of the whole thing. The chaos
Brought him. When
hold
they were
on.
doing things quietly, they weren't getting any results. But when they started being more cajoling, having more fun, making it a game, singing, they started getting more activity.
Right. So the more energized that they got, the more active they got, the more stuff they got. If you watch that whole video, and I did, when they were putting their hands on the table, they were asking for people to knock. They're asking for Phillip, this fake entity, to knock on the table, and there was knocking. Now you have to understand that this whole thing was monitored by the scientific community. This was a study, so I don't believe they faked any of it. I do think that what we saw there was legitimate. I mean, it was literally on film. Granted, it was done in what, the 70s, 80s?
72.
Okay, that film was from 72. I didn't even know we had cameras like that in 72.
I don't know if the film was from 72, but that's when the experiment started. That's when they started trying to develop all of this.
So this is the other side of
point
this,
system.
okay? On so TikTok here on Facebook, where Phillip was, this comment was Phillip was fake, but they may have brought another entity. Maybe that's true, but see, they weren't using anything like a Ouija board. They were literally just using.
But anytime you have people together focusing on
That's what I was
bringing
gonna
forth
say.
energy, you can open that door. And I thought that too, but I don't know. I mean, I'm very torn, but it kind of makes sense to me, especially when we get into the poltergeist stuff later, because this is something I've always thought about.
Taryn said that seems to happen. See, Taryn, if you guys don't know, on TikTok here, is a paranormal investigator. If you guys have a chance, go to Facebook and look up Paranormal Brew. She has an awesome show. She goes live on Wednesdays. And she has a huge following. She interviews famous people like Jason and them from Ghost Hunters. She's awesome. So go check out Paranormal Brew. Taryn said that seems to happen when we are investigating and we are laughing and joking and not paying attention. We get some pretty good EVPs and interaction. You know, that's like anything. When you're not paying attention is when stuff seems to start to happen. So Eli says outward intention will allow wild connections to anything. Yeah. That's kind of what we're pushing towards with this whole Phillip experiment thing. It's that group unity thing. It's a lot of people focusing on one thing. So it's not like I'm sitting here trying to activate a Ouija board myself, but if there's 4 of us trying to activate the Ouija board, okay, there's a lot more energy and there's a lot more focus on that intention. And, you know, I talk a lot about intention in my videos, you know, intention and for anything in life. You know, if you have the intention to get healthier, you will get up, go to the gym and get yourself healthier. If your intention is to do that, you'll make healthier choices in your diet. So intention is very important.
It's a big thing. It's very real. And I mean, I know we've talked about it before. I believe that we are able to tap into a lot of energy that we might not realize.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly right. And I think this is the point that needs to be made out of this entire thing. People, we are powerful. We have a lot more power than I think we're given credit for, than we even give ourselves credit for. I think that we're capable of a lot. And this goes, when you were talking about Buddhism, you know, a lot of these people spend a lot of time in meditation and they trying to, you know, use chakras and things like that. Right. And listen, my friend Lisa, who is always on these lives, and I think she was in here a little bit ago, she sent me this thing. It was a mantra called Shreem Brizzy. I don't know if you ever heard of it. The strangest thing in the world happened. Guys, I'm a skeptical person. All right? I am a skeptical person. She sent this to me, and I'm thinking, wow, this is weird. This guy's going Shreem Brizzy, and he does it 108 times. It's the strangest thing in the world. Now, listen to this, guys. I'm not bullshitting you on this. Lisa was trying to sell an item that she's had, and she's been trying to sell it for a long time. She found this guy. She was listening to this Shreem Brizzy chant, and she sold that thing in like 2 days after that. So she manifested this. Okay.
Kind of like the Silva method.
The Silva?
The Silva mind control method.
Oh, yes. Yeah, baby. Oh, we're going to go down that rabbit hole. I love that.
Oh, yeah. We could do a whole segment on that because I've actually used it. I love it. It's phenomenal.
Right. So now here, fast forward to me. Okay. For me. And at first I thought he said sleep with him, Monica, you and your jokes. So I started to listen to this thing. I went to the gym and I'd listen to my workouts, and I hit the massage table afterwards. It's a Hydra table, and you get a 10-minute session on there. And I put that Shreem Brizzy thing on, and I listened to it for the entire thing. I listened to it a couple times later, and I'm not kidding you, the very next day. I've been doing carpentry for a long time. I've been remodeling homes for a long time, and no one's ever given me a tip. Because it's an expensive thing to do and people spend a lot of money. And, tips really aren't part of the deal. You're making enough money doing the job, right? This woman gave me $500 in cash out of the blue. She came up to me and said, "You're doing a great job." And she laid out $500 in cash. She said, "I want you to take this. Don't tell anybody about it." She said, "Don't even tell your wife about it." I tell my wife everything, but she's like, "Just take this money and enjoy it." And I'm like, wow. So my is Shreem Brizzy every damn day. I didn't win the damn lottery, though. I tried. I really tried for that Powerball, that $1.3 billion that somebody out in Oregon just won. You lucky son of a bitch. I won't be your friend. All right,
but
so
no, I honestly, that human minds are crazy. And I mean, that kind of ties in, like I said, with the poltergeist thing too. Like, I think that the mind is incredible, and we do not know as much as we need to. I think that we are at the tip of the iceberg.
Sure. So I think, and Taryn said the mind is very powerful, and I want to read Kristen's comment. Kristen said, energy comes forth when you need or want it to, with or without a Ouija board. And that's the truth. I mean, you can literally manifest anything if you sit down and you focus. Mo's not here. Mo's not, she doesn't do my podcast with me. She's actually in the bedroom in her pajamas watching us and chatting.
Hi, Mo.
And so that I said you were watching. She's out there. Did you guys hear that in the peanut gallery in the background? But the Ouija board is also a very powerful conduit. Amber's in the house. Amber is in the house. She is a subscriber on TikTok, but she's chilling with us over here on
Amber.
Facebook. And we got another subscriber, a loyal friend. Imagine if we used 100% of our brain. So, now we're going into that. I don't think that whole thing, if we're using 100% of our brain, here you go, Eli.
I saw you.
There we go.
In my PJs. I'm hanging out with my mom. So, yes, I am listening. So,
we said that. We said that.
Yeah, but everybody's always asking where I am.
Well, there you go. There you go. She's in her PJs.
Be in the peanut gallery in the other room.
There you go.
Love you, Mo.
Love you, gorgeous. You look beautiful, by the way.
So I don't think that whole, if we had 100% use of our brain thing is, we would have, if you look at the movie Limitless, I think that was a good movie when that guy takes a pill and unlocks the power of his brain. Maybe that's more realistic in that aspect. If we could unlock maybe using neurotropics or something like that to unlock more potential. But here's the thing. I did speak to a our neuro doctor, a neurologist. Okay. And she told me that this is moving, and I'm sorry guys, my camera's all over the place on Facebook. She told me that she's like, if you are not using your brain, if you are not reading, you are not challenging your brain, you are literally losing thousands of brain cells every single day. And listen, I have a terrible memory. I literally just started taking a supplement to help with my memory loss. And I'm hoping that it helps, but it's a real thing. So, bro, I use 1% of my brain half of the time. It's a myth. We do use all of it, but only in parts at one time.
Exactly.
It's special. Yes,
And
Eli.
neuroplasticity is a very big, important thing. That's why, so many things they try to do now work on rebuilding that neuroplasticity.
Exactly. And listen, one of the things that you can do is there is an app. There's an app that you can get on your marketplace, and if you have iPhones or if you're a Google user or whatever, in your marketplace, you can get an app that actually helps you with neuroplasticity. It's just little games and things that you can do. If you're not using it, you're going to lose it. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys use your brains and just, don't be like unhinged and using his, plug your phone in, dude. If it's only at 1%, plug that shit in, man. Lube it up if you have to. Spit on it. Do whatever you got to do, bro. Make it happen. So that's where I really think I need to start doing that, because I'm having issues with my memory. I do. I'm struggling with it. And it's something that really, it's hard for me to deal with, because my wife could tell me hey, Dustin, can you pick something up, or can you, his phone runs on oil. This unhinged is going to be he's the oily guy from here on out. He's just the oil guy. B12 is
the oily guy.
He's the oily guy. Well, he first came into my live just the other day, and he said something about rubbing oil on it or something. And he thought I was going to kick him because I guess he gets banned. I'm like, no, bro, you just found your new home here with us. Welcome to the party, big fella.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
With the Phillip experiment, we're talking about people manifesting entities. How do you think that kind of plays into hauntings at especially famous places where people go in with this preconceived notion? Large groups of people go in and they swear they see things, or people, how much of that do you think is plausible? Like, Gettysburg or the Myrtles plantation or the Amityville house. You have all these people so focused on the fact that they're going to see some activity.
They manifest it.
Mm-hmm.
They manifest. You go to Eastern State Penitentiary. Okay.
Oh, I still want to go there.
Yeah, and we're so close to it. I mean, we should go. We should literally just do it and go. We should do it.
Let's
and
do a live one night.
You know what? We should do it. We're going to do a live from Eastern State Penitentiary. We'll make that happen. Y'all need to do that. You know what? I'll. You know what? I'm going to set that up. We're going to get that done. Kristen was there. Kristen's like, hey, yo, I was there. So we're gonna do that. And maybe I can get Taryn to get on board with that one.
Yes, I would love it.
So Eli said, I have some wild ghost experiences from prison. Really? Maybe you and Unhinged can get together and talk about using his oil.
Oh gosh. But see, that's my thing when it comes to ghosts is I've always thought that there might be the possibility because it's straight physics. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, you know? And when
Right.
there are these big emotional things, what are they but an energy release? So a part of me has always thought in non-intelligent hauntings, there's a plausible scenario there because whatever happened was traumatic and imprinted. That's why people talk about seeing the same scenes over and over again, or women
Mhm.
on widows' walks because they spent so much time and energy being sad there.
So, as a person who spent a lot of time on the battlefield in Gettysburg, okay, and I've spent more time there than the average folk. All right, I've got more hours logged on that battlefield than the average person.
Some of my craziest things were there.
Some of your craziest stuff. See, but I've never had a single experience on the battlefield. Never had a single experience. Okay, wait, okay. I will say that maybe one time I was in the slaughter pen area, which is between
Oh,
Devil's Den.
yes, Devil's Den in the slaughter pen. That's where it was.
So it was between Little Round Top is up there. It's called the Valley of Death, and then the Plum Run, which is called Bloody Run, runs right through there. Okay, and some Georgians and South Carolinians and stuff came right through there, and they pushed there's like 6th New Jersey, the 4th Maine, and some 40th New York were down in there. Smith's 4th New York Independent Battery was on top of the hill. All got pushed off of there. The 124th New York Orange Blossoms, and I can continue. All right, I'm a nerd when it comes to the Gettysburg battlefield. I've never once, except for one time, I heard a faint drumming coming from the area of Big Round Top. Does that mean that there was anything? No, it doesn't mean anything. There's people, there's kids that go out there with drums all the damn time. Could I have heard somebody of fife and drum playing up? Maybe. I don't know, but it was too close and I couldn't see anything. I can't necessarily explain that, but my skepticism says it was probably some kid beating on a Civil War drum, having a good time.
For me, we snuck onto the field at night, of course, because we were dumb teenagers. It was like me and about 10 other friends. And there was this big watchtower. And it was near like the visitor center and the parking lot there, And we went there and we were just kind of walking around being stupid kids, obviously. And somebody climbed up there like a dum-dum. They're so lucky they didn't die. I didn't because, I didn't have
You're
the
smarter
cojones.
than that, breaking into
Well,
the
that and I didn't have the
battlefield.
cojones. I mean, let's be real. I was 16 and thought I was an invincible. If I wasn't so scared, I probably would have. But nobody was up there. And then they came down. We're all standing there. We hadn't left the area. We hadn't left that out of our sight. Me and a friend were underneath. We were going to take pictures. And we both freaked out at the same moment because it looked like somebody stuck their head out of the opening, like, and looked down at us. We didn't talk about, we both just like grabbed each other like, what? Oh my God. Because all of our friends, we could see them. Nobody was up there when they went up, and it looks like some dude's just poking his head out, looking at us. We freaked out. And so that was one. And the same night, we thought we saw headlights. Being stupid, irresponsible teenagers, we thought, oh crap, let's run. Ended up falling into a 3-foot ditch, all of us, because we couldn't see it in the dark. But when we popped back up, there was no way for those lights to have gone anywhere that we wouldn't have heard them or seen them go by. There was nothing. And it looked like lights. And that's why we thought maybe it was a car or security. So we ran, and nothing, just gone.
I mean, it's an interesting story, but again, I mean, I could come up with 100 different reasons why you could have seen something like that. But so Unhinged said he got thrown into a wall completely alone. Okay, talk to me a little bit about that, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Where were you in your house? Where were you when that happened? Like, tell me a little bit about that. Did you have any marks on you, like from being touched? Because obviously you had to be moved. I mean, I don't know. You said you were in your house. Same house you live in right now? I'm kind of curious. No. So you moved out of the place?
I would have too.
No, man, that's the kind of freaking place I want to move into. I'm trying to have an experience. No, I'm trying to have an experience. Listen, I want to have an experience, that I want to have a paranormal experience, because I want to know that people aren't crazy for thinking or having had these experiences. I mean, there are things that I've seen that I can't always, I can't explain. Like at my tax lady's place last year, I saw something I can't explain. But like I said, my biggest experience was the Ouija board thing, and I've talked about that before. And I won't go into the whole story, but that was very real. That Ouija board experience was very, very real, and people that the board said it was going to kill are dead, and they died at a young age. Terry died at 18 years old, very shortly after that incident. John died at the age of 27, a couple of years after that incident. Christy ended up having the baby. And to this comment, and if you can't see this on TikTok, but Kristen said, you're immune to it, and you know why. She knows the story of the witch that lived down the hall from us, and she had no idea what we were doing. We weren't being loud in there. She came down and she wrote 777 on the door frame of my apartment, threw some salt on the doorway, and said some chants and things. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking, you're weird. This is weird. Like, what are you doing? To be honest, nothing. I've never had an experience since then. So what Kristen is talking about to it is she's put some type of protection spell on me that's still there. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I can't have an experience. I don't know. Kristen said, you're lucky for your neighbor saving you. I don't know. Maybe, because maybe I'd be dead, because that thing did say that it was trying to possess me. The board said it was trying to possess me.
Yeah, you might not want to open that door again, my brother.
Not Dude, at all. I'm dying to get on a Ouija board again. I know I'm the dumb one.
But if it tried to get you then, and she did something to interfere with that, do you really want to open that door again and risk something attaching itself to you? Because having an experience is one thing, but opening the door when you know that there's something dangerous that wants you on the other side of it, that's a whole other thing.
Bring it on. Think about what you can learn from that.
Yeah, but think
Kristen's
about
like, don't touch the board. Kristen's like, don't touch the board.
No.
Judy, are you the same Judy that was on the live earlier today? Because I'd love to talk with you. So Unhinged said the second one was I was getting popcorn and I looked out a window and saw an entity. So what did the entity look like? Was it a shadow? Did it have shape, form? Did it intimidate you? I'm interested to know about your experience. So Judy, if it looks like I'm talking off to the side here, I'm also on TikTok as well. So we're running a couple different platforms here at the same time.
Oh, and so back to, people creating these entities with manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
There is the school of thought that poltergeists are also the physical manifestation of emotional turmoil, especially because they tend to be attached to young children who we all know are more open to things. They're more open to the energies of the world, and they have just more powerful brains. I mean, let's be real. The amount of stuff that they learn daily, like maybe they don't use it the way we do, but the processing power that they have, the openness that they have. Yeah, exactly. So there is that big school of thought that poltergeists are manifestations of emotional turmoil.
And that's a very good transition into talking about the Enfield case. And we're going to do that in 1 second. So before I do that, I want to jump over here to TikTok again. Lee said the night we spent at the house in Columbia was interesting. What are you talking about? What house in Columbia? You're talking about Columbia, PA, like right down close to where I live.
Columbia has a very weird vibe.
So Unhinged says that his entity had a shape, but it was not the traditional demon. He said, yeah, if I don't respond, my phone died. Plug it in, bro. Plug it in. Because I'm interested in your story, man. I want to hear it.
You got a cord somewhere, I'm sure. You in the woods?
Man, plug it in. Yeah, it's like that old commercial. Plug it in, plug it in. Was that Glade or something like that?
Yes, the plug-in.
Yeah, the plug-in, Glade plug-in. I wish Taryn would jump in here. So let's talk about this. So the Enfield poltergeist. For those of you that don't know, the Enfield poltergeist, this was in mainstream, was brought to people's attention by the movie The Conjuring.
And it was a big phenomenon back in the day too when it was occurring.
Right. Well, it was very popular, and it made a lot of the mainstream media because of how intense that this it was. So, talk a little bit about what you know about the Enfield haunting.
So this was also back in, oh gosh, I think it was the 70s. I'm sorry. I forget the exact date, but it was a single parent. She had two daughters, Janet, who was 11, and Margaret, who was 13. They lived in London. It was the 284 Green Street in London. And she called the police because she started hearing knocking everywhere. There was furniture moving. And Janet, I believe, was the main target usually of the poltergeist activity. But there was even a police constable who reported seeing a chair like wobble and slide, but like he couldn't figure out why. And then there were also claims of disembodied voices, loud noises, thrown toys, overturned furniture. Janet supposedly was levitated by this thing. There are pictures of it, her just in the air.
She was wearing
Crazy
the
thing.
red pajamas when that photograph was
Red
taken.
nightgown, yes, I believe with the white polka dots.
Hey, Patricia, it's good to see you.
So, and there were reporters that said they heard and saw things that they couldn't explain. I mean, the Warrens got involved a little bit, but then again,
So,
they got involved anytime there was a big case. So,
anything, it was big. So, anybody who doesn't know, Ed and Lorraine Warren were parapsychologists, basically, who had
demonologist,
very
yep.
strong ties in their Christian faith, and they used that to expel
Lorraine
demons.
was
And
a medium too.
Lorraine was, and she was a medium. Their story fascinates me.
Oh
Ed and
yeah.
Lorraine Warren, those were some interesting people, and they were involved in some very prominent cases.
There's a
And
lot of controversy with them too. So like a part of me is on the fence, but I mean, their story is it's fantastic. I mean, let's be real. They wouldn't make all these movies if it wasn't.
I mean, that's true. So let me jump over here really quick. He said, when I saw it, I just froze and it just looked at me. Then it just faded away in black smoke. And that's it. And it made a certain sound that I can't forget. And every once in a while, I hear the sound. Interesting. What can you describe what the sound was, what it sounded like?
That sounds almost like infestation.
Right, it does, doesn't it? He probably should have lubed something up with that oil he carries around with him. It may not have made any noise.
Wouldn't be able to stick to him anymore.
Wouldn't be able to stick. There you go. There you go, Unhinged. That's what you need to do, brother. Just lube yourself up. You free yourself of the demon, brother. I mean,
Get some blast
this
oil.
is not professional advice.
Get some blast oil. There you go.
So he said it was like a raspy, long breath. That's interesting.
Like when you say a raspy long breath, maybe like somebody who's smoked for a really long time, or like somebody who's maybe having like a distress.
Sounds like Bruno, but we don't talk about him.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Was the house in Wrightsville or Columbia? So you're talking about the investigation. Oh, okay. So we did an investigation in Columbia, Pennsylvania.
That whole town is
I
weird,
wish
dude.
Carmen was still in here because she could tell us what it is. She set up these investigations, but the investigation was, what the hell's the name of that place? Oh, for Pete's sake. The burning of the Columbia Wrightsville Bridge over here took place during the American Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff attached to that whole thing.
Right. So we investigated the bridge office building. Okay. The office building's still there. It still exists. It's actually a printing company that's in there right now. And we spent the night in that place, a few hours. We were in there over the night, and it was definitely interesting. I didn't have any good experiences that I can sit here and talk to you about, although it did have a very strange feel to it. But again, is that psychology? Is that me saying I'm in a place that's technically supposed to be haunted, that people have pulled paranormal evidence out of multitudes of times, and here I am not having any type of an experience?
See, I'm one of those people that believe that a place can become oppressive. I believe that the emotions that happen in a place can very much affect the vibe. Because like I said, energy, it's all energy. So if you have some really big, dark, bad thing that happens in a place, there are people that will, especially people like myself who are really perceptive to emotion, if you walk into a place like that, you wouldn't know anything about the history, but you can feel it. It's heavy, it's dark, there's something wrong, and you might have been picking up on that, especially if you're, very empathetic, or you don't necessarily have to see an apparition to feel the effects of historical events on a place.
I agree with that. Lee said, I've had an experience during a reenactment that I couldn't explain. What is that, Lee? Share that with the group. And Kristen agrees. She says places hold energy. I think that's the absolute truth. Taryn, I'm still waiting for you to come in here. Okay. You can give me 5 minutes. Come on in, Taryn. Come on in. And we didn't even know the house was haunted. Okay, so explain a little bit what your experience was there, Skippy. My big thing is if we can get evidence, like hardcore, undeniable evidence that this stuff exists, I think it changes the whole perception, right? I think it changes the narrative entirely. It's kind of like UFOs.
That's what
I
I want
think
to talk about soon.
Well, I think we're foolish to believe that we're alone in this massive, expansive universe.
Statistically impossible that we are the only life in the universe. Now, I've always been iffy on whether they can reach us or not, but
Judy,
it's statistically impossible for there not to be other life in the universe somewhere.
prisons and hospitals are big on heavy energy because of what goes on there.
Yes.
Jumping over here back to the comments on TikTok. He said, but I swear, Unhinged said, but I swear on God, if I didn't freeze in that moment, I would have thrown hands. How's it going, Hizzy?
First reaction, fight the demon.
Monica's has audio that she captured from our investigation of that place, and we're gonna play it for you in a second. And then Lee said he was playing cards with friends, waiting out a thunderstorm, and it sounded like there were people upstairs. And when the organizer came to lock the doors, we walked through the entire house. He asked us if we had anything happen. All right, so we're going to listen to this audio really. Oh,
while you
ahead,
get that queued up and you let them listen to that, I will be right back. I have to go handle something quickly. I will be right back.
Smack him. Straighten him out. No, go ahead.
Yep. All right.
We'll be here.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we're going to play this. We're going to play this audio for you guys real quick and put it right up. Let's try to put it up here between. Is it this one?
Yeah, hang on.
Here. All right, let's try this. Listen closely. Yo, that is some creepy shit.
That one is saying, I don't like that. So the story behind that is I was sitting in the parlor and everybody else was upstairs. And the question that I asked was, or I said, I'm sorry about the person that we were with because they were acting a little obnoxious.
Oh my God, that guy was over the top.
And I said, I'm very sorry for his actions. I said, are you okay with him? And he said, I don't like that, plain as day. Now
I'm going to play it again. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to play it closer to you guys on TikTok.
No,
So
the first one.
All right, so listen to this again, guys, and I'm going to put this microphone over here too so you guys can hear it again. I don't like that. That was clear as day.
And to the ear, did not hear it.
That is so cool. That's the kind of evidence that I want to listen to. Now you have this one.
Yeah, I want to hear that one because depending on what it is, I can tell you the story behind it.
All right, so back over here on TikTok, Lee said he asked us if we had anything happen. We told him about the voices. He said that it is the original owner of the house, Colonel Longwell. He said we were the only people there and we walked around and we were the only ones in the house. So he did have that experience. So Taryn said, you guys should have investigated that farmhouse y'all were staying at in Gettysburg. Okay, so
we did.
No, we kind of did. And I actually did get an EVP too. You could hear it above my snoring, apparently. And yeah, that might be my wife's EVP right there. Might actually be the best EVP I've ever heard. Give it to me again.
It's the top one.
I just want to play this again. Oh, Ash is back. Let's bring her back in.
Yes, I am back.
Did you hear? Listen to this, Ash. Listen to this
Okay.
EVP.
Sorry about that, by the way.
Because I don't like that.
You said, I don't like that. Let's listen to it again. Did you hear that?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so recap. Everybody was upstairs. I was downstairs in the parlor, and one of the guys that we were with was obnoxious, and I was apologizing. And I said, "How do you feel about that?" And I left it play, and then this.
And you didn't hear that at the time. It was
strictly on here.
oh,
Now, here's the next one I got.
All right, let's listen to
love it
this.
when it's intelligent responses.
Did you hear it? Excuse me. Dustin, we were all in the parlor and it was quiet because we asked a question and we were waiting for it to answer. So Dustin cleared his throat and it said, "Excuse me."
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, how have you never shown me these EVPs?
I have.
I told y'all about my memory. I told you.
I call it squirrel brain.
You heard Dustin clear his throat and then you hear,
That's crazy.
"Excuse me."
Can you guys hear that on TikTok? I'm going to play it for you guys over here on TikTok. That's wild.
That
That's
voice
wild.
too. That gives me chills.
Yo, that shit's
Oh,
legit, man. Like,
There is.
that's legit. That first one that I played for you guys,
Oh,
I didn't even remember that she even captured that.
I forgot it wasn't Dustin clearing his throat. It was Lee coughing.
Oh, Lee coughing. Thank you for sharing the live, brother. I appreciate you. This little button right down here is how you do that. All right,
That's
so you
true, Kristen.
So Chris, so on TikTok or Facebook, Kristen says, so you seem to attract a lot of paranormal activity for someone who doesn't believe in the paranormal activity. I never said I didn't believe. I just said I'm very skeptical. There's a difference.
And that you
Tom's
never had
word.
experiences, but apparently they happen around you.
Okay, so I was mistaken. It was Dustin clearing his throat, but this one was when
She can't make up her
with
mind.
Lee and Lee coughed.
You legit can't make up your mind. What the hell? Which one was it?
The first
Now
one
they don't
was,
believe you.
No, the first one was you clearing your throat.
Which
Now,
one?
turn it up.
This
No,
one?
This one is the one right after Lee coughed.
All right.
It's a
shut-
woman's voice.
Shh.
Turn it up. Smells like plain shit.
That one, I don't know if that. No, that was weird. That was like a deep. It smelled like shit.
It smells like plain shit. Here, let me turn it up so you guys can actually really hear it.
Tom says, "Let me clear my throat so Unhinged can bring his oil and use it on your throat."
Here, ready?
You were there, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that medical oil. Yeah, baby. We got you set up, Tom. I got you the hookup, brother. Over here on TikTok, we got a guy who has a infatuation with oil.
Now, I do have that audio isolated.
So let's listen to the That is definitely a disembodied voice. Where did you isolate it? This
That one.
I'm going to hold this up here for you guys on TikTok so you can hear this a little clearer. That's what it almost sounded like they said smells like fucking shit.
Smells like plain shit.
I don't know, but it's clearly a disembodied voice. That was not something like, yes, Lee, that was at the office in Columbia. That's where we heard.
That, and while Dustin and I were up in the kids' room, we got whistling. Oh yeah, you cannot mistake the word shit.
Yeah, you can't mistake that. So I don't know. Again, like I'm so skeptical about these things. It's hard for me to wrap my head around some of this.
And that's the thing, like, you guys got intelligent answers to a lot of things. Like, you got intelligent responses that weren't audible to you. But was that really an entity? Or was that something that you guys brought into that space because you're all focusing on
If
it?
okay, let me ask you a question. If that was the case, hold on. Something about a guest. Oh, Heineken Man wants to jump in. Bro, I would do that, but we are actually on a podcast, and I'm not normally live on TikTok, so I'm just broadcasting my TikTok or my podcast, brother. That is some of the clearest EVPs I've ever heard, and it's
Mhm.
on my wife's phone. EVPs that she captured herself,
That's
which
crazy. I mean,
during
those
the
are very
investigation
clear.
that I was present for. So that's evidence. That's evidence. That says to me there's something here, right? There's something that needs to be investigated. I did. So Taryn mentioned that that I should have did an investigation in one of the houses I stayed on the Gettysburg battlefield. So we stayed in a place that is directly behind Little Round Top. Now there was no actual fighting on the ground that we were at, but there was a massive amount of troop movements back there. Hey, what's up, brother? It's good to see you, man. Appreciate you. There was a massive amount of troop activity in that particular vicinity. And it was probably most likely used as a field hospital, and people probably and most likely died in and around that house. It would just be unrealistic for that to not have happened. Every house in the vicinity of Gettysburg, that is right on the battlefield. So it was used as a field hospital. I was curious. So I decided when I laid my head down, I was going to just put my phone on record and see what happened. I got a lot of snoring. That's what I got. I got a lot of freaking snoring. But what I also got was footsteps right inside of what sounded like they were right inside of my bedroom. And it was very simple. And it sounded kind of like,
See, that would freak me out. I feel like somebody was walking by me while I was sleeping. I wouldn't like that.
it did kind of feel that way. It did. So you need to get an investigation. I've spent nights at Neshamity National Park, and I've reenacted out there. I've never had anything. Monica was not even in bed with me at that point yet, bro. She was downstairs hanging out with the rest of the people. I do know for a fact that nobody had gone up there. So nobody was there, and the proximity was way too close to my phone. So it just, to me,
Have you
that
ever
was.
wondered how many people at a reenactment might not actually be people that you see in the distance or doing things?
I've never thought about that. I've never given any
You've done it
thought to that
now.
at all. No, look. There's a lot of. Okay, I will say this: there's a lot of evidence that you see on TV captured by people at Gettysburg. I just commented on one. This guy showed a line of apparitions, in a like brigade formation crossing the slaughter pen and Plum Run Creek. Okay.
That place is
Okay, but listen, knowing what happened there and the troop movements, that first of all, that would not have mimicked any single troop movement that happened there, because it was this way and the troops moved this way. So this is where they were, but the troops moved through in this. So that wouldn't even work out. Does that mean they're going to be in the same formation that they were in? No, maybe not. Maybe they, whatever.
if they're intelligent, they might be just doing what they do. But if it's a true, just like a non-intelligent, just a residual haunting, I mean, it would line up with whatever their movements were at that time.
I think she's talking about the reenactments.
Yeah.
Nothing Civil War related here, but there was stuff from Washington's Crossing there. Interesting. Plus, I've heard stuff in the garden at Neshamity Voices, but nothing I can understand. Well, dude, Tom, I've been telling you to stop drinking for years. And maybe lay off that a little bit.
You mean.
He's my brother. He's one of the owners of BB3 TV. So, Tom,
Okay.
Ashley maybe is starting a show. We're going to need to bring her in on BB3 TV if she gets her own show fired up.
Yay. I have ideas.
Sometimes,
We'll see.
so Monica said plenty of witnesses saying that I was downstairs also. No, we know I mean, she was definitely downstairs. There's no question in my mind about that. You know, it is what it is. Dude, what's going on with Jess's family? I don't know. We'll have to talk about that later. He was like, it wasn't from drinking. He's like, it wasn't from drinking, and I was sober. Okay. No, because you were at your job. I know you aren't going to lose that job. So Lee said, I'm just joking. Mo, calm down. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Mo, sleepwalking. Gotcha. Monica does sleepwalk. I can vouch for that. She talks in her sleep. That makes it very difficult to get a full night's rest. She's always rolling around, aside from farting louder than any human being ever does in the world.
Why would you say that about your wife online?
You think she's not over there laughing right now? And she's going to come in here and she's going to be like, no, he farts louder than I do.
Oh, next time I see you, I'm smacking you just for that comment.
Then you don't understand the dynamic of my marriage.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I'd probably slap you anyway. It's okay.
Yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, he's like, girls don't fart. Yes, they certainly do. Mm-mm. Yeah, I wish they didn't. I really wish they didn't. Or I wish they walked out and did it somewhere else when they did, you know. But so this was a great time, Ash. I really appreciate you coming on, man. This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys over here at TikTok for hanging out with us for this hour and 6 minutes we've been live, 12 minutes, whatever it is. Next week, what are we talking about, Ash? You coming on again? I think you should do it. I think we should do it.
Absolutely. I was thinking maybe because I do want to do a UFO. I want to do a UFO thing, but like I said, that one might end up being a two-parter, like past events and what we're finding out now. But I'm thinking sleep paralysis demons, because that one I get sometimes, and it's a phenomenon that I find fascinating. So
let's talk next week. Let's talk about sleep paralysis, and let's talk about out-of-body astral projection. All right, because that is something that fascinates me, you know, astral projection, out-of-body experiences, and, you know, near-death experiences too. You know, I have a couple of friends actually who've had near-death experiences.
We survived the eclipse.
Yeah, Kristen's got it. Here we go. Next week, we survived the eclipse and the aftermath.
We'll check in to make sure that everyone is still here. So be sure to sign in next week.
And yeah, so we're gonna next week's show is gonna be a lot of fun, guys. And we will do this again on Sunday. But over here on TikTok, join me tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all know how we do it over here. And it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I will be adding my schedule to the bio, so we're gonna change that up. And we'll see y'all again here next week. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We appreciate you so much.
Love you, brother. Have a good night, everyone.
See ya.